On May 21st of 2012, I got a call on my cell phone that said Father Bud. I stared at that phone and I did not want to pick it up as I knew that was like God calling.
God takes our best efforts and can always make them much more glorious than what we ever imagined or conceived.
It has been the job of a lifetime. I very, very much enjoyed it. It was just very, very challenging for us and for all of the team that worked on it.
The feeling that we have from the beginning that you really trust us for what we did in the past and what we should be able to do in the future gave us the freedom to use all our experience around the project. And I think that this really made the difference.
It is so impressive, so powerful. It's majestic, it's historic, I'm in awe.
I arrived here at the parish in July of 2008, and it was just about 6 months before I arrived that some parishioners had begun to think of the concept of the dome. And knowing that we could not incur more debt, this is a fairly large undertaking without that type of resource. So that was one concern, I guess, that I had. I think it was initially the people who, conceived of the idea. They brought me along. It was their faith in the project. It was their inspiration, their desire, the hard work that they were willing to commit to it, and seeing that and being around it gradually over time made me believe that indeed it would happen.
I called an old boss and I said, you're never going to believe what I'm going to do after my career at IBM and Dell. And I said, I'm going to be a church lady. And so he just couldn't stop laughing hard enough that was where I was going. He said, God's blessings. And so that began my journey, 4 years at St. John Newman, and it's been my huge privilege to be able to complete this church, which is the number one thing I said I wanted to do with Father Bud. And it started with completing our chapel, a beautiful chapel, and completing our mezzanine, our choir loft, and our music room, and all the little tiny details that hadn't been completed when the church was built. But the gem of them all was to work on this dome project, not because of what it is, but for what it stands for. And the people that I met, and the beauty and spirituality that they have given to this project and to our parish is unparalleled.
It was the Art and Environment Committee that took such a lead role in pursuing this project, pulling the artists together and under the direction of Rolf Rohn, our architect, and others who worked with us to make it happen.
We were contacted very, very early on, even before the building was built. Lucille Lamy of the A&E committee, and Peter Lamy actually, got in touch with our company. They heard about us, got in touch with our company because we worked on the Houston Code Cathedral. We're liturgical design consultants. We work all over the country with many, many, many dioceses. I've been with the firm for 25 years. I'm vice president, part owner of the firm, and it has just been a real joy and pleasure for me. We have dealt mainly with the liturgical finishes, the colors, how to bring the whole job together, working very, very closely with the parish team in articulating the vision that they wish to have the church say. It has to come from them. It's not from us.
And when someone wants something, they'll describe it, whether it's even just emotions or scenes or scripture passages, and I'll just draw as they speak, which helps things flow a little better.
We work a lot with international suppliers. So we have been dealing specifically with our Italian suppliers, but we have looked in Spain, we've gone to, in the country, different areas, Mexico, the Philippines. We work all over the world.
You know, we did many other important projects. We have been working for Vatican, for audience hall, in many different countries, but this is really something that I will remember forever. When I was young, I was dreaming to do something like that, and now that it's a reality, it's really the best satisfaction that I could have to, after 30 years of working in the studio. I did learn from my father. I am the second generation. He died when I was young, but you know, he did have the time to give his influence on me, and now it's important to use the law when you do something that you like.
We do church snooping, basically, and we visit churches as much as we possibly can, especially when we're commissioned a project of this nature. It is very, very clear when you travel overseas and you see the great basilicas and cathedrals throughout Europe that that's what it was geared to do. It was geared to teach, because they weren't able to have a lot of the books and people couldn't read. So they were able to articulate it through the art. And that's what we try to do specifically with the dome. It shows the Old Testament, the New Testament, it shows the 12 tribes of Israel as well as the apostles. It's just an entire story of the church itself.
You know, I think that I am lucky as well, because my faith gave me the opportunity to express what the artisans, as we are, we can do with the art that we try to create. It's a big responsibility, considering the wonderful example that we have in the past, especially in Florence. So we are trying to keep this tradition moving, even for the next generation. This is why in the studio I want to be young people involved and learn from people with my experience. They come from different countries, most from Italy, of course. They've been studying 50 years ago in a school for mosaics, so they have a lot of experience about that. And you know, there are young people, less young people, I don't say older, but everybody really interact very well together.
The more we worked, the more people got involved. The design committee grew larger during the process. In the beginning, it was just a small group, and we were kind of hand-working our way through all the details, but there was so much energy and so much power. I know one week there were 92 hours that we put in, and it was just a small group of Kathy and Lucille and I working out details, refining everything. And as we worked more, the group got larger and different people were involved.
The people that I met and the beauty and the spirituality that they have given to this project and to our parish is unparalleled. They have given heart and soul. We've worked at 7 o'clock in the morning till midnight, and gotten up at 6 o'clock in the morning and done it all over again, and would do it again.
And it's not just about, you know, raising money for a church or raising money for a dome of this caliber or the sacred art that would be involved, but it's in every aspect of the church that we would be bold in terms of sharing our faith with the community, that that we would encourage others to share in our Catholic faith.
Everything in the church has great, great meaning. And even coming down the aisle, the sacraments and so on, and it's to be something of a learning tool for the future of the parish, so that they can learn with their children what church is about, and hopefully it will perpetuate for many, many, many years.
It was very uplifting. Something like this is it was a powerful job. To work on something this powerful and this magnificent, it was something you could only imagine at the time.
Oh, the cross. That's a very, very special piece. It was carved by our master wood carver, who is no longer with us. He passed on a few months ago. His name was Edmund Rabanzer, and he actually dealt with our company for more than 40 years. Our present owner of the company, Rolf Rohn, his father discovered Edmund. And when we were doing the designs for the cross, it was very, very important that it be commissioned to Edmund. The reason for that was because Edmund was able to articulate the presence of what we wanted to see in the piece. He is still alive, so you can see a lot of the veins and, you know, the anguish in the face and so on, but he was still looking down at the altar. We did many, many designs to come to final design of that piece.
Well, everything that we do begins here, frankly, in terms of the liturgy. It's here where we gather around the Lord's table, where we receive Christ's body and blood. And our prayer, and we believe, is that as we receive Christ's body and blood, that we become what we've received. And that we can then, as we leave the church, share that person of Christ with others. And so if we're inspired along the way with the image of Jesus at the first of his signs from the Gospel of John, or in the prefiguration of the Eucharist with the multiplication of the loaves and fish, and if those images and those designs can help to inspire them, and they receive Christ's body and blood in the Eucharist, then my prayer and our very well-founded hope is that they would take this hope and joy into the community and with those with whom they live with and those they serve.
Beauty is a pathway to God, and I sincerely believe that. And when you go big and you go bold, you bring others into the faith. You get them to stop and to pause and to look up. And if we touch one soul, we have done our baptismal promise. We're in the business of saving souls, and for every single person that is drawn to this Catholic Church to ponder and to consider what's happening in our dome, for every child that learns the 12 apostles, for every person who now understands the mirror images in the Old and the New Testament, that's what we're here to do, to inspire, to know the 4 marks of the church, and to really understand our Catholic faith and to question and to research more.
I think that this is a clear example how art can be a form of catechism. So I'm expecting the people looking at the dome will be surprised for the quality of the art and even the depth of the meaning that there is behind. So this is something that will remain for the next generation, and a way of teaching our faith for the future.
I think that we're going to be inspired to do more. So this community that's historically done a great deal for the poor and the needy in our community, I believe that those efforts will not only continue, but will increase.
So this challenge has to do our best. And I would to say that not for the size, but sure for the importance, this is the best dome that we ever did.
I hope that we are going to be able to complete the church in its entirety with the designs to complete the story. And that we have stained glass windows, that we have done many preliminary designs. We've done sculptures, other mosaic backgrounds, just all sorts of things that I think that we need to hopefully complete if we're able to. I've been involved in this project for 10 years. This is like home to me. I'm a Texan at heart. And I just have very, very much enjoyed working in this area and with the people there. The parish has been wonderful. We very much enjoy our relationship. It's almost like family.
There are so many things that could not have been done if it hadn't been for God. And my last point on this is on a crazy day in July this summer, when I couldn't really figure out what was going on in that dome, or it certainly wasn't what I had thought was going on. The first figurine put on the ceiling at St. John Newman was none other than Thomas, Doubting Thomas, who is the patron saint of architects, builders, and construction workers.
The church has a wonderful image, particularly when the church speaks of her church buildings. And the image is built of living stones. So there's the edifice and the art that's a part of the edifice. But really what we're about is building living stones, people that will continue to give praise, honor, glory to God, to love God with their heart, and to serve their neighbor. And a church built of living stones is what we aim for.